Hey everyone, welcome back. Days 11 to 13, except I didn't actually fight anyone days 11 because I was busy, so this is only going to be covering 2 days. But yeah, I'll just get straight into it. So this is a dueling session I had with Big Axe Swinging, who was someone that I previously couldn't beat, or not very often. Now, if you saw my last video, I went through a whole bunch of my duels that I've been having on videos and found out why I was getting stunned. And to my surprise, it turned out that I was mostly getting stunned when I was trying to get my main skills off. So I've adopted a strategy of relying a lot more on my light attacks, and then I'm a lot more careful when I'm trying to get my main attacks off, but I also just try to use them a bit more sparingly, and then when I get them stunned, that's when I try to go through big damage combos. And so I'm getting CC'd a lot less now. So other than the example you're about to see right now where I do get CC'd, that's a lot more of a rare occurrence, and actually I'm avoiding a lot. If you actually look at this duel, I avoid a lot of CCs. So that's been, I feel like that's the bread and butter. And it's showing in my fights too, because with Big Axe Swinging, I was able to beat him as much as he beat me. And again, here against Taiji Shi, I was losing against this guy not that long ago, and then I was able to beat him. We had 3 fights, I beat him twice, he beat me once. But this is just a really, really good example of like how I'm just playing a lot more, not getting stunned basically, and I'm relying a lot more on my light attacks to do a lot of the damage. And then if I do manage to get them CC'd, which I will always use my main skills very sparingly, but when I do get them CC'd, then I, will combo them down. But you can see there, I was dodging all his big CCs quite well, so it's definitely getting close. But yeah, I managed to get the win. And then another example of that is where I was fighting people skills who I've never beaten before. But because I was just relying on my light attacks, which meant that I was really avoiding those CCs. Honestly, really go check out my last video it'll make a lot more sense to you with all these conversations that I'm having. But you can see I'm dodging all their big CCs really well, whilst also just constantly whittling them down with my light attacks. And then you'll see where I managed to get them in a CC just coming up here. And then that's when I'm going to apply some really big boy damage just to really finish off the job. It wasn't always like that. People's skills was probably, was beating me more than I was beating them. But even in this fight where I lose, I still, I'm not unhappy with it. I was doing a good job. I kind of rushed through my CCs way too much there and get a little overexcited. But I'm dodging their CC. I'm dodging their big CCs. I'm whittling them down with my light attacks. So I'm just, this is a person that I couldn't beat before, and now like we're having some really close fights, and so even though they won, I'm okay with that. And then, but what goes up must come down, and that is certainly the case. Here we have the return of the OG Hope Master, definitely the original jeweler for me. He kind of helped me along the way originally, and he absolutely just destroys me. But he's not destroying me like. It's because he just seems to be dancing circles around me. So my struggle with him was every time I would turn to face him, he was just back behind me again. And so often I was just hitting air. And then that would sort of force me to try to use my main skills just to kind of get him to back up a little bit. And then of course he would just dodge those main skills and keep hitting me. And so that was how I was losing. So I had a lot of fights where I just lost all the time. Here's like a classic example of it. Just to look at my positioning, I'm trying to hit him, but he's always just getting behind me and just whittling me down. And then as I turn around, he's just like constantly hitting away at me. So I'm not actually even really hitting him as much, and he's just hitting me way more. So after dying like that a lot, one of the things I figured out was that I was doing my light attacks too kind of quickly. And so he would kind of dodge, and then I would just hit air. So I sort of slowed the swings of my light attacks down a little bit, just reducing that tempo, which I keep going on about. But also I just made sure that before I hit my light, I know this sounds really obvious, but before I hit my light attack, I just make sure that I obviously had him in my radar, right? So I wasn't just swinging at air. So just doing that little thing by just slowing down and just making sure you move back to where the target has dodged to before you hit. Even though I lose this fight, it was a lot closer. I was starting to make gains. But then, unfortunately, I had to go because I had a phone call. So then the next day, day 13, I ended up fighting some light armor bruisers, which I haven't really fought before. So they kept they're actually quite evasive, more evasive than I thought. And I kept just like, again, same with OG, kept missing my attacks. I guess it was a day later, and so I was kind of like, every time they came close to me, I'd be so eager, so I was trying to kind of light attack at them, but they'd kind of duck and do their big hits and then duck out. And also, this guy hits real hard. It wasn't, maybe not in this video, but in one of the videos he hits me like 5k, so it's just like, yikes. So, I was fighting this guy, didn't beat him. He was just really evasive, kept coming in. And just wearing me down. And so then right after this, I fought another light armor bruiser, and it was just the same pattern again. You can just, I just feel like this Unco giant, like swinging in the middle of the air, and they just kind of like dance and smack you and then back off. And so it was kind of frustrating. A lot of it was just me not knowing what to do. And you can see I get a little bit like stressed out, so I start trying to get all my main skills off on them. So I'm dodging their CCs pretty fine, but I just can't hit them. And I think it's just because I was rushing my attacks, then he comes in and gets a CC on me, and then like now I'm in a major damage deficit, and he can just keep coming in and doing like these little sneak attacks on me basically. And then when he comes in, I'm just like kind of trying to madly swing at him and missing, and just like the other guy, he just sort of would slowly wear me down and I would lose. But however, I finally started figuring out a little tactic which turned my losers into wins. And this is the fight where it really cemented it. So you'll see in this fight that I get into definitely a massive damage deficit compared to him. He gets me really low. So at the moment, this is just like an ordinary fight. You know, I'm trying to hit him. He's trying to do some sort of sneak attacks off on me, and I can't hit him. A bit of a cat and mouse you can see here. See, I'm just swinging at him and just hitting air. And then, of course, that increases my frustration. So I start trying to get all my main skills off on him, which is when I'm most dangerous. And then, of course, I get caught in a stun, which you can hear me swearing. And now all of a sudden, yeah, like, basically it's GG his game. However, it's not. Because I back away and decide to be a bit of a rat. And I just think, okay, I'll try to play evasive too, and just try to whittle you down. And so this is where my kind of strategy starts to work out. So you can see here, I'm trying to catch him in a sneak stun and get some damage on him. Of course, he's still been evasive too, so it's a bit harder. But you can see I'm just trying to get these little pot shots off on him. And then I'm backing away so he can't do any damage to me, because obviously if he does, it'll be game over for me. So I do this for a little while, just trying to kind of get those little attacks off on him, catching him in stuns, and just slowly whittling him down and then backing off. So I'm basically playing like how he's playing as a light armor. And then I'm able to bring him down, catch him, and then kill him. So I apologize for being a rat. Not that he cares, because he's wondering, I don't want to be too ratty. I mean, what am I, do nothing? Like, come on. And so, but in this duel, I decide, okay, well, that works really well. So I'm going to try to be really evasive. And when he comes near me, I'm just going to make sure that I can trade with him and get 1 or 2 attacks off on him. And then I'll just back off myself. And also at the same time try to catch him in a stun, which is what I basically do there. So I just wait for him in a way to come near me. And I'm willing to trade just 1 hit for 1 hit, as long, because I know I'll win in that respect, because I'm in medium armor. And so yeah, just trying to play. I just tried to play a little bit more evasive, tried to catch some hits up on him, just a couple, and then it really worked. I was able to, I guess, frustrate him a little bit and catch him in some combos. So that's what helped me win this fight. And so yeah, I think that's a good strategy against other light armor users, and it's certainly with OG too, just making sure you're lining up your shots. So thanks everyone. I'm just sort of showing this video clip because I had nothing else to show, but it's been definitely good this week. I had 500 subs, which I'm really stoked about, and apparently I made my 100th video, which is also pretty cool. And I hit 75,000 views of all my content, which is also pretty cool. So some big milestones. So thanks to everyone who has supported me, and I will be back in a few days with the next Bruiser video to let you know how I'm going. A bit of a light one today just because I was away for the day.